You are listening to World Sports Show Lacrosse.
Did we have this much media when we won? Well, that was probably, one of the worst, starts I think we've had in a long, long time. And they scored with like 15 seconds into the game, and then, they really came out fast and hard and intense, and we got spread out on D, which is unlike what we're trying to accomplish there. We thought it would be a good opportunity after, last night, we played good enough to win in Buffalo. I don't know whether you saw the game last night or not, but, we really played, good enough to win on a number of fronts. And, you go into Buffalo and you lose by one, questionable goal at the end, questionable penalty at the end, and we we lose 14-13 to the Bandits. And we had a good opportunity in the last, seconds of the game to tie it up on a 6-on-5 play. So, we left feeling pretty good about that. And we felt pretty good about where we were in the third quarter here. We came back and it was 10-8. We battled hard. We started playing within our, using our principles on offense and D, and we got to turn the ball over a lot. On their side, and we played with a lot of drive, and B came in and made some big saves for us, and next thing you know, we're back in the game, and we ran out of gas. Our O ran out of gas. They got their 11 and 12 were transition goals, and that was we just weren't smart. We talked about managing the shot clock, especially when we're physically tired. Then mentally you have to manage the shot clock a lot better. So. We probably could have made some better adjustments in that point in order to use that shot clock and, run the shot clock down and then, change and play 5-on-5 until we created opportunities. I thought, we started to force some opportunities and the ball ended up in our net in transition. And, of course, that, power play, right? And then next thing you know, the wheels fell off. So guys are pretty tired mentally. We're a young club. We just have to, go and collectively work together to say, hey, you know what? We're not as good as we were probably the first game, and we're not as bad as we were tonight. So, we're somewhere in there when we get our identity back. But, when B. Miller's playing strong and our D is on and everything's cooking, we're in pretty good shape. Nice to see Paul Rabel, score some goals. That was nice. He's been working really hard to find the back of the net. So for him to get 3 goals, I think that's a good thing right now in Game 4.
Coach, what did you talk to the team about when you guys are down 7-1? You want to chip at it, and not look at the score and just play your game?
Well, it's all about principles that you practice and principles that you spend time talking about. We talked about our performance goals. We have some performance goals, team performance goals. We talked about those at halftime. For example, not to get scored on in the first minute of a quarter, not to get scored on in the last minute of a quarter. Not to get scored on face-off. So, and that happened, right? We got scored on the face-off. Snyder went down and scored on the face-off. And not only scored on the face-off, he scored in the first minute. So when you've got some performance goals and you've got principles, you just got to get back to them, and that's what we did. We got back to them, and you can see. And at that point, you hope you can get a couple of power plays to help you get back in the game. Yeah.
Coach, from a coaching standpoint, the team is up by 6 goals with 3 minutes left. What advantage would you have by throwing a challenge flag on the goal?
Well, I wouldn't do it, put it that way.
I don't really know anybody that would.
But they, as their coaching staff, it's a way to use a timeout. It's almost the same as using a timeout. So instead of calling a timeout, if he knows the goal's not in, and he throws the flag, it's like using a timeout at the same time. So I don't know. We sort of have what we do with our flags now, because I'm not very good at it, number one, and I realize I'm not very good at it. So we have a strategy when to throw the flag. So I can only speak of what we do. But they're an intense lacrosse club, and when they do that, that's showing their muscle, and they just kicked our butt, and that's another way of showing they just kicked our butt.
This league, it can flip-flop flip-flop so fast. They start out 0-2, you guys start 2-0. That
Yeah.
You still got 12 games left, but like how tight this league is, and to know that every team's live, how does that give you a little motivation going into next week?
Yeah, that's what's so nice about it is, everybody is really, a very par level with talent, and the coaching in this league is very high with only 9 teams, and we don't have farm systems, and we don't have a lot of other things. So this is the best of the best. I mean, that's a very good lacrosse club. I mean, they move the ball well. They're smart. They're slippery, and some of their passes and the things they do in tight quarters, is really really good. And you have to get to that level to compete. Yep.
Can you talk a little bit about Miller kind of coming into the game and settling the defense down? Because he really kind of seemed to get the overall defense back in sync with the game.
Yeah, well, Brandon does that. I mean, that's why he's one of the best goalies in the league. And when we talked about starting Cross, Brandon was involved in those conversations early on in the season. It's just like a couple games ago we put Will Harrington in. Last night we had Brian Tuber in. So you have to do that early on in the season. And so we talked about it when we got Brian Croswell. That when we got Croswell, that we would get him in early, right, and see what he can do. And unfortunately, we didn't see what he could do because we didn't play very well in front of him. So that's not a very good indication of what we do. I called his brother's Brian. I called Kevin Brian. Sorry. Because we were just talking to him about his brother the other day. Yeah, so we didn't give him some support early on, so it's not a good indication of what he can play.
Sum up the play of Kevin Ross today.
Kevin Ross is a hard-nosed, tough competitor. That's why he's one of our assistant captains. I mean, he's gritty. He's very involved in the game. He understands where the game is. It was a little. He got a unsportsmanlike a penalty when he went over to the referee. The referee apologized and said it wasn't a very good call. And he said, he's an assistant captain, and he should be able to talk to you. So, but he's an emotional, passionate player, and we need him. I mean, that goal he scored was phenomenal. That was a beautiful goal. So we're happy. In the off season, he's been very instrumental in every game. Our successes. He's been very instrumental in our successes.
Coach, you're moving into, you got the bye week, have some time off. What do you start addressing when you guys meet up again?
Well, just the same thing. Just the basic principles. We'll have some emails. We have a weekly call with our offense and Blaine and myself, and then we have a defensive call with Tommy and the defensive players and myself, and we go over the things that we need to go over. Blaine cuts up video, and we have a system where we send it out so players can watch video, and we keep doing what we need to do in the off weeks, just because of the makeup of this club and this point in time. We're not going to practice. We're going to give the guys, a little break here. That was our plan from the start. So, some guys are going away, some guys do some things, because after that we're pretty well into it. And then, we're going to get back together. We've got a bye week in March, so we're going to get everybody in and have a couple practices. I think it's March 23rd weekend.